Today it's good afternoon. I'm Stacey and welcome back to Farmer's Wife Homestead. Right, I've been working on this recipe for quite some time and I think I've finally perfected it. Well, I know I have because I've made 3 of them today. I remember as a kid that we used to get at school, you could order for your school lunch something called a Boston Bun, also known as a Sally Lung, and it's like this big round loaf and it's got sultanas or raisins in it, and then on the top it had a mock cream and then it was sprinkled with coconut. So I have vivid memories of those. I also have memories of making mock cream at school and learning how to do it. But doing this, having a look for a recipe for this, I couldn't find mock cream, the type of mock cream that I remember from my childhood. So I finally found it. And yeah, I think I am onto a winner now, and it's just going to bring back so many memories for those of you who grew up in New Zealand and probably Australia. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've got it in other countries as well. It could be called something slightly different. I don't know. But yeah, some variations have cold mashed potato through it. I've done all that. I didn't like that one. So anyway, I've come up with my own recipe and I'm so pleased to be sharing it with you today. I haven't done the costings for it, but I would imagine it is very, very economical, and I would say I would be able to do the whole recipe for under $5, and it makes a really big bun, so perfect for school lunches and smoko, afternoon tea, morning tea. Yeah, anyway, as usual, blah blah from me. Thank you for joining me, and I will bring you down and show you how I make my Boston Bun, also known as the Sally Lung. Okay, so into my mixer, you can, if you don't have a mixer, that's fine. You can just do this by hand, but you will have to knead it for a while. So I'm going to put into here 1 1/3, and don't worry, I will have the recipe for you in the description, of water. I've used hot water so that it, you know, when you put hot water into the bowl will take some of the what am I trying to say? Take some of the heat out of that water. And then I'm going to use 1/3 cup of sugar, and I need 5 teaspoons of yeast, and this is the yeast, just looks like that. 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's roughly about 2 packets of the 7-gram yeast that you get in the supermarket. Alright, so I'm going to just give that a quick mix with a spoon and make sure that my yeast is active, which I know it is because I've made this heaps today. Alright, I can see it's already starting to activate. And to this mix, we want to put in 4 1/4 cups of flour. And just make sure you level off that flour. 1, 2, 3, 4 1/4. We want 2 tablespoons, I'm just using heaping tablespoons of milk powder. we want a teaspoon of salt, and 50 grams of softened butter. So this butter is room temperature. Now I'm just going to use my stand mixer to mix this until it comes into a ball. So it's all sort of like come together. Now I'm just going to leave the mixer on mix for roughly about 5 minutes. Hang on, I've got chickens in my garden. So I'm just going to let the mixer do the work for me. Otherwise you can knead it for 7 to 10 minutes, but the machine will do the work for me. This dough may slightly be on the drier side, so I'm just going to pop in about a tablespoon of water. Alright, I'm going to give this 5 minutes. That was around about 5 minutes. So you just want to do it until the dough sort of is springy in it. So that when you press down it sort of bounces back. That's what you're looking for. Right, so I'm going to pop this into just another bowl that I've got sitting here. You don't need to worry about oiling it because it does have butter in there anyway. And I'm just going to cover that. And I've got my oven preheating at 180 bake or 160 on fan bake. Okay, and I'm just going to put this somewhere where it's nice and warm until it's really well risen. So about an hour. You want it to, you know, be very puffy. At least doubled, if not tripled size. Alright, so while that is doing its rise for an hour, we will make the mock cream icing and have that ready. And what else are we going to do? And then we will get 3/4 of a cup of raisins. I think I've got raisins. It could be raisins or sultanas. They're kind of very much the same. You can put half and half with currants as well. But yeah, about 3/4 of a cup of raisins, but we will do that a bit later on once this has risen, and then it goes for a second rise, but a much quicker rise. So yeah, so I'm going to wash out this bowl, and then I'm going to get all my ingredients ready for the mock cream icing. Right, so I've popped 125 grams of softened butter. It's not melted or anything like that. It's just slightly softened. Room temperature would be a better thing to say. 125 grams. I'm just going to whip that for a little bit until it's fluffy. Boiling some water as well, and I'm just scraping down the sides, and then I'm going to whip it a little longer. Right, I've got another jug here, and I have 3/4 of a cup of icing sugar, and I'm going to take half a cup of boiling water. Going to pop it into this cup measuring, so I've got a little bit of extra space, and I'm just going to put a little bit of hot water, of that boiling water, into the icing sugar and stir it until it's sort of a bit more fluid. And it sort of dissolves the icing sugar. Just give that a good stir. until it's thoroughly mixed. Alright, so keep that rest of the boiling water and get yourself 1/2 cup, just a 1/2 cup of cold water. Alright, so now what we've got is the leftover 1/2 cup of boiling water, 1/2 cup of cold water, and then we've got our icing sugar with the remainder of that 1/2 cup of boiling water. Right, and we are going to alternate between the hot and the cold while this is on beat. But first we're going to do the sugar first. Turn that on, and we're going to slowly pour in the sugar syrup. Now I'm just going to scrape down. You will have to scrape down quite a few times. Now I'm just going to keep slowly adding the sugar. I've just scraped it down again because it flicks all the sugar water. And give it a really good mix. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that tablespoon and we're going to alternate between the boiling water, which is cooled down slightly now, and the cold water. So 1 tablespoon, and I'm going to turn this on. So you can see it's quite light and fluffy now, and just with a clean finger, when you taste it, you can't feel the grit of any sugar or anything like that. Now we'll keep going, but we're going to add some vanilla essence as well. So 1 tablespoon of vanilla essence, and then we'll just keep beating, probably 1 more tablespoon of each hot water and cold water. Now I'm just going to taste it. Yeah, that's the consistency that I want. So I have still got quite a bit of water left of the boiling water and the butter. I think I'll probably do a teaspoon of each more. Sorry, a tablespoon of each more, and then just give it one last beat, and then yeah, we'll go from there. Perfect. So what you've got is a very thick, pale butter or mock cream. Okay, we're just going to put that aside. Alright, so as you can see, it's got quite a lot bigger. Got a mat down. And I'm just going to grab the dough, flatten it out, and then I've got a cup of sultanas. Just plonk them in there and then just start working them into your dough. This stage will just take a little while. You're just going to knead the sultanas into the dough. I find it easier to do it by hand rather than use the machine, because the machine sometimes makes the sultanas what's the word I'm looking for? Mushes them up a bit too much. The last Boston bun that I made had 3/4 of a cup of sultanas. If you like less, use 3/4. If you want more sultanas, which I know husband loves, add a cup. So just keep incorporating them. Picking them up as you go along. Right, that's probably good to go. I have lots of sultanas in this one. A few flyaways. I'm just going to grab a tray. You can use a baking paper lined tray. I've got a silicone mat, and we're just going to cover that with a bit of baking paper, and we're just going to let that rest for about 25 minutes somewhere warm until it's sort of doubled in size and it you know, is ready to go in the oven. But I'll show you when it's ready. In the oven she goes. I've got it on 160 fan bake, and it needs half an hour. And then after that I will just take it out of the oven once it's nicely browned over, and then pop it onto a cooling rack. Just pop a tea towel over it, and then once it's fully cool you can then ice it. Okay, so I'm just going to grab the bun. I've got a dish that I keep my sweet treats in. Here's the finished bun. It's completely cold, and we're going to put the icing on and the coconut. Okay, so we're going to take the mock cream icing. And you want lashings of it. Eat sort of like a sliver at a time. But like I said, this mock cream, or what we call mock cream, is the pinnacle of a Boston bun or Sally Lunn. Okay, that's well covered. I've got a little bit of the mock cream left, but that's okay. I've just got some desiccated or shredded coconut, and I'm just going to layer that all over the bun. Of course, if you don't like coconut, I'm not sure what you could use in its place. I suppose you could do chopped nuts. It's just not going to be traditional, that's all. Look at that. Husband is going to love this. I'm going to give one to the neighbours as well. A little difficult to make a slice on something that's... that bread is so tender. Sliding around on the baking paper. Here's my piece. Yum. Trix is ready to say goodbye again. Bread is so tender, soft, with the icing. So delicious. Try this recipe. I'm sure you will absolutely love it. Oh, yum. I can't stop. I have to stop. Thank you for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed today's recipe. I have been working behind the scenes on lots of new recipes, not only so I can put some on the new website, but I've got an exciting wee thing that I'm also working on, which is a little ebook for you guys, budget friendly recipes. So I've been working on those as well. So yeah, lots going on for little old farmer's wife Homestead and me, and yeah, I'm really super excited to be bringing that to you hopefully soon. Hi, it's the next day and I've just realised that I didn't say goodbye, I didn't film a goodbye, and I also wanted to tell you that the bun is best kept out on the bench. The butter will be fine. Yeah, if it's a really hot, where you are, if it's really hot, just keep an eye on it because it may melt, but it's winter here. Yeah, so if you put it in the fridge, just know that the bread's just going to go a little bit more dense and the mock cream will probably set. But thank you for joining me for today's video. I went to film this and looked outside the window and little piggies were in my garden and they've rooted up 3 of my garlic beds. I'm devastated. So I've caught them in time for some of them, but they were looking for the little wormies in there, and I ran out and stopped them, but I'm going to have to try and replant because they're all sprouted now, and I'm going to have to replant what I can and fill in the gaps as best as I can because 3 beds are just decimated. But that is farming, that is animals, and it's just the way it goes. So that's what I'm about to go and do. I was about to film another video, but I will do that first and then get on to my next video, which I'm really excited to bring you. So thank you for joining me. As always, I really appreciate that you spend time out of your day to come and spend it with me, and some of you tell me that I keep you company while you're doing jobs around the house or in the kitchen, and that's awesome. Alright, bye for now.